What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yoon. You're watching Star Wars edition of the Ragin Nation show. This web series we're talking about all things that matter to me in the world of Star Wars films. This is episode number 25. I got a top 10 list for you guys, but before I do that, I'm going to give you my final box office update for Star Wars The Force Awakens. As of today, this weekend, Star Wars The Force Awakens has officially broken $2 billion worldwide. That is awesome. That is outstanding. That was done after 52 days, which is absolutely incredible. It did not beat James Cameron worldwide. However, it did not beat Titanic. It did not beat Avatar. $2 billion is just not enough. They got to go above and beyond that, but it ain't happening because there's not much time left. The Blu-ray comes out in less than 2 months from now, so essentially it's got another month to go, or maybe less than, before it reaches the end of its entire theatrical run. However, The Force Awakens did, of course, beat James Cameron domestically in North America. That's US and Canada. It made $900 million, making it the only record holder for a film that has made $900 million. That is absolutely outstanding. Congratulations to J.J. Abrams. Congratulations to everybody that worked on Star Wars Force Awakens. Lucasfilm, Disney, you did a great job, and I can't wait to see Episode 8. Speaking of Episode 8, so we already know that Episode 8 has been delayed from its May 17 release date to December 2017. Or December 2017. That's official from StarWars.com. Unfortunately, it is possible that it could be delayed even more, mainly because of, I think, and don't quote me on this, it was a lighting technician strike that is pending. So, I could be wrong about the lighting technicians. I'm not entirely sure if it's lighting technicians or another type of union employee in the film industry. But anyways, the strike is pending. Now, if the negotiations don't go through where both parties are agreed upon, then there's going to be a strike. And that means that it's going to delay the production of Episode 8, meaning that it's going to delay the release of Episode 8. So no longer a December 2017 release, it will be sometime in 2018. So if it goes down, then hopefully it's a May 2018 release. If that happens, that means we're going to get 2 Star Wars films in 2018. So that's what's happening. So without further ado, let's do this top 10 list, and it has to do with Episode 8. This top 10 list is for the top 10 things that I want to see in Episode 8. And we're going to start off with with number 10, and that is Luke Skywalker and her training, and him training Rey. I want to see that. I want to see that development in Rey's character. I don't want to just see it happen, or rather hear about it happening because they mentioned it in the opening crawl. Or I don't want to know about it that way. I want to see the actual training. I want to see some of that training the way Yoda trained Luke in Empire Strikes Back. All right. After all, they did say that, or rather, it's been kind of hinted that Episode 8 is supposed to be the Empire Strikes Back of the sequel trilogy. So I want to see that, and it'll be good. It'll be cool if they do that. It'll be cool to see Luke Skywalker as the Jedi Master training the apprentice. All right, so that's number 10 for you guys. Number 9 is I want to learn more about Rey's origins, and it was hinted from Colin Trevorrow that everything about Rey will be addressed by Episode 9. All right, is that by the time the movie ends in Episode 9? Or by the time we get to Episode 9. So, I don't know whichever it is, but I'd like to learn more about Rey's origins in Episode 8. She's a very mysterious character. Number 7 is I want to see chemistry between Chewie and Rey. I want to see the type of chemistry that Han Solo had with Chewbacca. We're probably not going to get that same type of banter and the dialogue, but I at least want to see some kind of chemistry, some kind of team. Partner dynamics. You know, it might not be the same dynamics as Han Solo and Chewie, but I want to see some sort of dynamics built between those two characters. That would be cool, because after all, it's pilot and co-pilot. We got to see, you know, them interact with each other, and I'd love to see that type of, or at least some sort of chemistry. Number 10, 9, 8, number 7 is I want to see Supreme Leader Snoke in his real form, not just the hologram. Before we saw him in a giant hologram form in episode 7, I want to see him as his actual form in episode 8. I want to see the Emperor Palpatine of the sequel trilogy. I want to see what he's really like. And then next thing you know, it's just Andy Serkis with a bunch of dots in his on his face and in a mocap studio. Number 6 is I want to see a new development in Kylo Ren's character. Now, new development could go both ways. It could be Kylo Ren being a cold, hard villain, but the development I want to see is that I want to see him feel regret about what he did with his father. I want to see him feel that kind of regret and have feelings and kind of some kind of conflict, an inner conflict about what he did. I want him to really feel feel the consequences of doing such a terrible thing. So if we can see that type of dynamic in his character, that type of development, that would really bring a lot more depth to his character. Number 5 is I want to see how Maz Kanata got the lightsaber. How did she get a lightsaber? She knows the ways of the Force, but she wasn't trained in the ways of the Force. She knows of the Force. In fact, she has a little bit of the Force in her. I think everybody has a little bit of the Force in everybody else. I mean, in everybody in the Star Wars universe. But she has more of it because she at least accepts the fact that she knows of the Force, so therefore she can harness it a little bit. She just doesn't know how to use it because she has no training. I want to see what is it about her character that makes her so significant in in episode 7, because she obviously played a very pivotal role, even though it was a small role. All right, now we're getting to a little bit of the juicier stuff. Number 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I just want to make sure I had 4. 4 more, rather. In number 4, I want to see new vehicles. I don't want to see just like classic vehicles, because we've seen a lot of the classic vehicles like TIE fighters and X-Wings. I want to see new vehicles like walker units or hovercraft type vehicles, like speeders, like land speeders that don't that they hover. You know what I'm saying? So I want to see speeders, different types of speeders, but I do want to see walker units. I don't just want to see AT-ATs because I've seen them before. It would be nice to see AT-ATs, but I want to see different types of walker units, because walker units were so cool in Empire Strikes Back. They brought in an AT-AT in Return of the Jedi, and then we saw walker units in freaking episode 2 and episode 3. So that was really, really cool. All right, so definitely gotta see new vehicles. One of the great things about Star Wars is all the cool vehicles. So bring that back. Number 3 is ground battle involving the Resistance. We gotta see a ground battle, because you know how awesome ground battles can be. We saw an epic ground battle on Hoth. We saw another awesome ground battle on Endor. And then we saw a pretty grand scale battle on Geonosis, and then scattered ground battles all over in Return of the Jedi. So, Revenge of the Sith. So I'd like to see more of that. Hopefully they can bring that, because I think that this is, episode 7 really opened the doors for a lot of opportunities to do some really spectacular things in the universe. Number 2 is I want to see another duel between Rey and Kylo Ren, but after all the training, it's going to be more fierce, and it's going to have a more advanced feel about it, because Rey is now trained. Maybe not fully trained, but at least she is trained with using lightsaber, and Kylo Ren obviously has seen more training from Emperor Leader Snoke, Supreme Leader Snoke. So it's gonna go down. Number 1, this is my number 1 thing that I'd like to see in episode 8. Okay, this is absolutely something that has to be done. In episode 7, The Force Awakens, Poe Dameron was given the the title, you can't really call it a title, but the unofficial title that he's the best X-Wing pilot in the Resistance. All right, and we saw how awesome he was. We saw him pilot a TIE fighter. He said he can fly anything. We saw him as the best X-Wing fighter in Resistance when he did some amazing maneuvers. And also he took out the freaking Starkiller base. You know, that takes a lot of skill. You got to be an awesome pilot to do that. Now, with him being the best X-Wing fighter in the Resistance, they got to do something that has never been done ever in the Star Wars universe, and that is the best X-Wing fighter pilot in the Resistance versus the best TIE fighter pilot in the First Order. That would be awesome. Imagine the best TIE fighter pilot in the First Order. They give him a name. All right, it's going to be some generic name, like a couple of letters and some numbers, but he has scenes. He has dialogue when he's not a TIE fighter, not piloting a TIE fighter. You see him walking around the headquarters, and everybody's cheering him on as that best pilot in the First Order. And then finally, the time has come when he learns that there's a really good X-Wing pilot in the Resistance, and the First Order tells him that you gotta kill him. You gotta kill him for the First Order. You're the only one that can do that. Go get him. And so finally, there's that build-up, and that could be the climax of the film: the best X-Wing pilot versus the best TIE fighter pilot in the First Order, and it happens because we've never seen that sort of thing before. When you watch any of the space battles, it's always been slightly one-sided, and it was for the rebellion. You always see them as the main characters, and all the TIE fighter pilots were all nameless except for Darth Vader, who, you know, he piloted a TIE Advance in Episode 4, but that was very, very brief, and there was no build-up towards that. Now, there of course also was that dogfight sequence between Jango Fett in Slave One and Obi-Wan in his Starfighter. That was pretty awesome, but it was just a chase. It wasn't a duel, it wasn't a battle, it was just a chase, and it was one trying to evade the other. It wasn't an actual battle, okay? So I'd like to see them go one-on-one. That would be awesome. And that is the number one thing that I want to see for Episode 8. If they don't bring that in, they gotta at least bring that in Episode 9. Super excited about that if that really happens. I mean, you're giving the title of the best X-Wing fighter pilot to Poe Dameron, all right? Make him prove it. All right, the storytellers got to make him prove it. And then they got to bring in his adversary. So make it happen. Rian Johnson, Colin Trevorrow, Lucasfilm, Disney, make it happen. Anyways, that's all I got to say in this episode. There's going to be a little bit slowing down of these episodes just because the main things we're waiting for is Rogue One, Episode 8, and its release date is pending. Therefore, the production and when it's going to start is pending. So we're going to talk next about Rogue One in the upcoming episodes, and also I'm going to do a guess I'll do a Blu-ray unboxing review for Force Awakens when it comes out. And therefore, and there you have it. That's all I got to say in this episode. As always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter at Ragin Nation. My name is Alex Yu. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.
That doesn't seem so tough.